We've not considered it, we've not evaluated it. That we checked, there's no development that has come to the city at this point and said, we're going to do something down here and we'd like to, extend Hamlin Road. Can't tell you that there's not a project out there someplace with some developer who hasn't come to talk to the city, but at this point we have no knowledge of such a project. Again, I mentioned, and I know that there's at least one gentleman here I talked to, when he found out we don't have a project for Hamlin Road, was really relieved. But if that's something the community wants, they can be suggested. That we've heard other things, other suggestions about other bridges and such. Submit the ideas, we'll take a look at them. So, that we're here to listen to you, but we've also got to follow what's in the ordinance, which is to come back with you with the facts and where Kingwood Drive is at today. And again, it's over congested, it's in poor condition, and we all know that.
Thank you. Eddie.
Again, on that, any questions for you? Oh, or okay.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you about traffic flow. You keep mentioning 41,000 today, 26,000. What was it 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Barrington got built out. The back of Kingwood got built out. North Park got built out. I've been here for 20 some odd years. 20 years ago, I let my kids run up and down Kingwood Drive. There weren't any issues. Today, luckily, they're all in college at A&M. The point is that it's changed a bunch, so one solution isn't necessarily a solution. Maybe there's another solution somewhere in there. But what's the difference in all the building that's gone on? Well, and the building is generating a lot of it. We talked about, that there are 30 some odd thousand vehicles between the freeway and 494, and then 41,000 between 494 and Woodland Hills, and then back into the 30s as you head further east. And that, to a certain extent, it makes some sense that as you come from east of Woodland, or east of Lake Houston Parkway, to the 20s, and then you come, as you head west, heading towards the freeway, it goes into the 30s, and then it goes to the 40s, but then that traffic doesn't just disappear when it gets to 494. Some of it may be going down there, but a lot of it has to do with the development. That you go down along Kingwood Drive, and particularly on the south side, you get the Taco Bells and the Carrabba's and all those shopping centers all up and down there. Additionally, we know what's happening up on North Park, on both sides between 494 and 59. That we can sit here and we can try and have developers, as they come in, try to mitigate some of the traffic, but there's a limit to what they can do. That, for instance, the Kroger, for instance, that it's out there, it's on North Park Drive. North Park Drive is a thoroughfare that we have to provide access by law, that we can't just tell them, well, you can't have any driveways. That we did try and get them to force some of the traffic out on the 494 and such, but there are limits. We can't have Kroger suddenly become responsible for widening that to 6 lanes or something like that. So we try and mitigate that they are actually doing some consolidation of driveways and that type of thing. That what the traffic volumes were 20 years ago, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll guarantee you they were a lot lower. It would not surprise me if the traffic volumes on the most heavily traveled section back in, let's say, 1990 were half what they are today.
Is there any possibility to extend Woodland Hills over to 1960 and give us another exit?
He's asking whether or not there's any possibility to extend Woodland Hills across the river and connect it. There's always a possibility. Again, that project hasn't been evaluated. It's something that can be submitted by the council office or even by any citizen into 311 in the process. I can tell you that there are some issues with it. That I'm willing to bet you that there are probably some environmental issues from some of the land uses on the river. Doesn't mean it can't happen. No question it'd be an expensive project, but that it's something that can be looked at. Was that extended to the east? Yeah. Okay. There are not plans to do that at this time. That some of the studies I've seen previously, and it's been a while since it's been looked at, actually indicated that might increase the traffic coming from the east, coming into Kingwood, trying to get to the freeway. So that might have some relief, but it might make things worse at the same time.
Well, the interesting thing from my perspective is I've always heard, don't put in north-south, don't do anything north-south, because that takes folks from other areas and dumps them into Kingwood, trying to get down North Park and Kingwood Drive. So we're trying to make sure we don't do that, to make it, by our own mistakes, making it more crowded than it really needs to be. So let me go to this side of the room real quick.
Is there been thought to Mr. Rachel Lane, go south in the morning, you can use it heading out to 59 and using it coming in? Just one HOV lane.
I think the interesting thing is they're putting in the controls for the, I'm going to get this wrong, not the HOV, but the
High occupancy toll.
HOT, where you pay a toll to go on the HOV that's presently there. I don't know if people have saw the work on the on 59, and it's now called Interstate 69. But they're putting that up, so it's going to be like other areas of the city. So if you're in a rush and you need to be, and you're in a single occupant of a vehicle, and you need to get downtown, you can jump on the HOT, which is the existing HOV, and just pay a toll. So does that answer your question?
You were asking about actually on Kingwood.
Yeah. Instead of doing the 6 lanes, doing just one additional lane heading out toward 59 and 1.
Gotcha. That hasn't been studied. It's something that we can look at. When I first got this, I started looking at it. I said, what can we do? Because I know Kingwood Drive, folks don't want to extend it to 6 lanes. So let's put that off the table. But are there options that we can look at? I looked at North Park and said, well, North Park has a big drainage ditch down the middle. We don't have trees. So is there a potential to do that as possibly a 6 lane? The thing that we need to be cognizant of is that this project is $1.6 million. So when you look at the project in the worst first, Jeff won't tell you this, but I will. If our project gets scrapped, we don't get that $1.6 million and get to do something else with it. We wave bye-bye to it. So we can't re-engineer that 1.6 into another project. If the next project bubbles up from there in the worst first scenario, and then we get put on the back burner. So just be cognizant of that as we have these discussions. No, ma'am. These are City of Houston capital improvement project dollars that are designated for each district within the City of Houston. So it's city dollars. And your question about federal, I think we're responsible. I don't think the federal government wants to do anything within the City of Houston. I don't think they have jurisdiction on doing things like that. So I don't think there's any federal dollars available for us to do anything. So,
One of the problems that we're having on Kingwood Drive is everybody speeds, okay? Everybody knows their speeds. So you've got a 40-mile speed limit, they're doing 50 and 60. It's much too fast for the commercial activity in the front. That should be at 30 miles an hour from railroad tracks to Woodland Hills. Because there's people pulling out in front of you, doing 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, they'll come right out in front of you. It's like taking a turn onto the 59 at a 93 angle. It's too much congestion in that area. They reduced the speed at Deerbrook. They reduced the speed at Best Buy. It's down to 40. We should do the same here with our money.
sorry, sir.
Was not this project to expand Kingwood Drive studied about 4 or 5 years ago, brought up then? I think this project was brought up about 4 years ago and was voted down. And now we're getting it back. Only instead of 6 lanes like it was then, it's now 8 lanes. And I'm curious to know how you're going to draw that traffic down coming in from 59 down to, from 8 lanes down to 4 lanes. That ought to be a circus. Now, I don't know how you're going to do that. I'd like to have an explanation of that also.
Well, first, that the proposal is not to go to 8 lanes. We're just talking about the volumes in that congested area are more conducive with an 8-lane roadway. That it's been more than 5 years ago. I want to say it was in the early 2000s.